and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers and all you divine lovers out there. So welcome to this beautiful spot here in the Alps. I just had my run, and as I was about to record this video for all of us, I found this beautiful #1 stone on the floor. Which is kind of like, I hope you can see it, and it's even turned the right way so you and the other side of the screen can see it perfectly. So yeah, I hope the zoom thing works. But anyway, it goes in alignment with the full moon in Libra, which is gonna be the main focal point of today's message. So the transmission of spirit, of what is important for us during this time. And because it's on the 11th and one is a part of the 11th, I wish I found the other one. That would be kind of weird if that happened right now, right? I just pulled a stone and probably thought Lona's making it up because she probably found it before, and yeah, tries to make the videos magical. But truly finding this, because this is a rare shape, right, of the stone, I think it's magical in itself already. So all stones aside, let's start with today's topic, because I think it's a very important one. It deals specifically with the balance of the divine masculine and feminine, because you know Libra is the sign that anyway always presents us with this idea of the yin and yang, of divine partnership that we're always a part of, not just with other people in our lives, you know, not just with the animal companions, with, you know, things we perceive as, okay, we have a relationship with, we're relating to, but on a bigger level, you know, there's this archetype in tarot called the Justice. It's the 11 marked number, and this archetype is always holding the scale, right, in the balance, and that's a part of the Libra concept. But the message that I received during this time, in this transmission, when I was out and about, is that there's still a lot of confusion out there, this chaotic world, because if you have eyes to see, you're seeing that there's tremendous things happening in our society, in our world at large, that are really much showing up this lack of balance. And not just what we say, okay, these are our leaders, they're totally off balance, but there's, on the other side of the scale, there's also the new age spiritualists who also going in the other extreme. So what's happening is, because we don't have this balance integrated in the fullness of our polarities coming and merging as one unified source self, which I talk about as the core creation self, we're always trying to, as a race of beings, as humanity, trying to compensate these holes, these loopholes, with new laws, you know, with new regulatives for our society and how to live, you know, and trying to mix the East, the West, things, you know, just how that work. Are we identified beings? Do we have identity? Are we cultural, like tribal? Are we more, should we go more into that natural kind of direction? What's the right way? There's always the seeking of what's the right way. So when man does not have the answers from, you know, this higher integrated polarity in unity consciousness, which is a directive that is completely guided by this benevolent primordial force of Holy Spirit, which is all life in creation. It's the life force of such ancient proportions that, you know, we can't really comprehend with our human minds. So we're always trying to seek and kind of like, you know, compensate with these rules and regulatives. You know, we have these different things happening in our societies. You know, what's right? Is transgender right? Can you change your gender? Gay marriages, you know, like I've recently heard this astrologer talking about, you know, are we going to have 5 people raising the families now, or is it going to be in community? There's so much coming out now because we were so forced to think in certain fashion, right? And now everything's coming up to the surface at once. But the thing is, we have to go gradually with these things, that they're going to become a part of our integrated new human society and culture. Because in this chaotic, you know, trying to find reasoning and trying to find laws before something matures within us spiritually first, that we're spiritually evolved to the degree that we can have that implemented in a societal way, in a structured way, that it's healthy and practiced for the whole, for everyone that's a part of the communities that exist on this planet. Just as well as we need to know that on a bigger picture, we are also, you know, these individuals. And that when perhaps those of you who are following what I'm sharing about the Ascension, because the Ascension journey is a deeply personal one. It's a transfigurative journey of inner soul alchemy and refinement once your soul is ready to merge the timelines and you step into this new unified self. And that will have to happen at your own expense and your own time frame, not so much limited to, okay, are people around me ready? Is the world ready? Is my society supporting this? At the point of your pivotal ascension climax, so to say, you won't have so much to rely on other sources. And that's not the same by saying you're not at the same time interdependent with the external sources, because we're individuals just as much as we are interdependent and interconnected, because we are interrelated in this field of unity. But the thing is that we always want to understand everything without the application of what this is really about, without maturing from within first. And even people who do tremendous psychoanalytical approaches to human way of thinking, even that can be put in black and white terms because it's so complex. And the variables to why our society is a certain way are never going to be able to be solved with just a few equations, a few analytical approaches, you know, even measurements of the human psyche, because every part of this whole is maturing in its own divine timing just as well. So that's the main message coming through, is that you have to respect both that inner liberated ascending self and your own trajectory of spirit, which goes a certain way, and you are spinning with others, but perhaps on a wheel you're just located in different spots, right? If you imagine the whole galaxy, right, with the spiral pulse of light that I always talk to you about, it's spinning, and we're all spinning within this great vacuum of cosmos, but we're just having our own positions within it, and that's perfect. And we need to allow things to become more natural. So one of the other message that's coming through, which is the same message, a part of the same message, is that there's quite a big misinterpretation of this whole goddess movement, you know, and the divine feminine, and now she's the leader of all, and she's been suppressed, and she's ready to roar, and all of that. And it's all good and fine. But the thing is that many people misinterpret that for the feminine fighting for her rights and becoming a sovereign, a fully, almost like in certain concepts, not needing the masculine, right? She's fully independent, and the feminine needs to rise and rule, and she kind of needs to establish herself at her throne in this position of the divine feminine, which it's almost like seeing this isolated matriarchal queen on a throne, you know, like the queen, what was the Queen of England, you know, this movie called The Queen, Kate Blanchett played, and she was like alone. She was very intelligent, and yet she was always isolated, and she could not find companionship to the degree of what she was devoted to, right? I love that movie, by the way. It has so many interesting concepts. But the idea here is that the true divine feminine, that which comes as an essence and is now coming out, you know, in the Libra concept now with this full moon, this is really going to become a part of the integration of many souls, as how I'm shown, you know, with my guidance, is that this in truth is about the divine feminine wisdom. It's about the divine feminine archetype that's not related to gender. It's not gender specific. It's not females are now rising and males are supposed to go in the corner because they've had their chance, and you know, it's not like that at all, because that's still a disrespect to creation as a divine trinity, right? Source, creation, and that which experiences that creation. I always talk to you about that, right? This is the whole principle of how life shares itself, how life is constantly rebirthing itself, renewing, and everything originates from that initial prime divine design. And when we see and distort this, which was given to us as an ancient knowledge, the divine feminine is returning, and many humans have distorted that. We always do that. Even with the Bible and many different ancient scriptures, the human mind is able to distort just about everything. You know, I've recently seen this beautiful astrologer talking about the whole idea behind this confusion in masses and the feminism movement, and I love that. I think it's called Dark Star Astrology, and the woman astrologer was talking about how people confuse the feminism with the divine feminine rising, and that's not at all the same thing. And that's true, because the divine feminine is an essence. It's an essence of source. And I related to not even females at all, because I related to that which is the union of the divine masculine and feminine, and that feminine is the embodiment. It's the body's wisdom. It's why so many of us who are allowing the soul integration and embodiment now taking place in our bodies, we're becoming more intelligent because of it. And people who are only going in the mental spheres, they're disengaging and disassociating themselves from the truth. So they're becoming more fragmented. They're becoming so much like living in these illusions and these realities. They're like little bubbles that, you know, when they're ready, they're going to burst eventually, right? But the idea here is, I don't see this movement as the Divine Feminine is rising. She's the queen, right? She's going to sit on the throne. And I love that idea that that's related many times with this feminism and the power of the feminine, because this isn't about the power at all. It's just, you know, the human species was so disconnected from the body, which means from the embodiment of the planet. We've been disconnected from the planet, and that's the whole idea of why divine union is so important. And again, people have distorted that as well by saying, oh, twin flame reunions. No, it's a bigger union that is a union of your divine trinity. And once you embody it, you become the secret chalice of all life. The Tantrika, I've talked to you about this. And I have a beautiful course called the Tantrika, and how you can master this understanding of primordial creation and become attuned and embodying that and learn life force mastery. And that's available on my page because I have such passion for this. And it's my mission to assist that integration in humanity. But so many people are still distorting it, and they're seeing it like, oh, the goddess, it's all about the goddess, and, you know, and then we worship the feminine. We're not supposed to worship any kind of gender. This is non-gender specific. This is the idea of union in this divine trinity. That's the beauty of all life in creation, that flows through either your male or female form. That's just an expression of form. Because our souls are in a way expressing when they're at its highest attainment themselves as androgynous, right? So in truth, this divine feminine returning is the wisdom to connect to our bodies. And when we do, we connect to the body of the earth, because our bodies are coming from the elements of earth. We were giving many different cosmic star seeds of life and many different DNA, almost like triggers that activate us, that will create a part of the human genome. But it's not all from there, it's also from earth, because the earth earth is like the cradle for these cosmic experiments to even be able to sustain themselves. There is no experiments without a planetary deity to provide forth that life. So when we speak about the nature of divine feminine, please be so careful and attentive to that, how you're approaching that, because it's not about, oh, now the feminines, we will rule. And that's even now expressed so much in politics. We think, oh, now females need to rule. You know, it's not about that. It's about the sovereign individuals who have learned to balance their inner masculine and feminine to perhaps rule, and even then not rule, to help guide, to help direct the energy to go in the right direction. Because rulership, in truth, is perverted. It makes us feel that we need someone to rule over us because we're incapable of being our own sovereigns, of making our own choices. And that's not even true when we're coming from our highest attainment of spirit and who we are as androgynous beings, as beings who both have the yin and yang, feminine and masculine polarities of our divinity. So the divine feminine movement, there is truth in it. But I see it as related to the galactic core and our alignment now with the galactic core. Please be mindful now that Saturn made its station retrograde movement, and now it went into its retrograde phase in direct conjunction with the galactic center in 26 to 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And it's going to be for a few months until end of August. We're going to be integrating this alignment with the primordial life force, the inner womb of creation, and then this higher force that's always permeating through all life in creation. And I've shared so many resources for you to help advantage yourself in that direction, that you're going to be a benevolent, fully expressive being of your polarity. Not the dualistic polarity, but the integrated polarity. When you're fully aware that you're not gender specific, you're simply a being expressing yourself, trying to attune to this highest creative expression of you, and creativity won't flow as much as you are engaging with this triangulation. That's when creativity is endless and infinite. That's the difference. It's not finite and related to these laws we're making, which are always changing anyway, because they can't be permanent, because they don't hold a structure that is, you know, it's unified with the great universal laws. So this alignment with Saturn, which is bringing things into form, it's devotion, it's maturation, it's walking a certain pathway in that direction, it's liberation from these false beliefs, lower beliefs, these imprints that we've been holding for so long. It's time to liberate, no more excuses, because so many times I see people saying, oh, but we have these beliefs, oh, it's just how it is, these predetermined view, right? It's not, again, making you be expanded. And people are not passionate about their growth. They're saying, yeah, you know, I'd like to expand, and then they go and do other things, right? Well, if you really want to expand as your sovereign soul, and when I say sovereign, that does not mean isolated from things like I just need me, myself, and I. No, I say sovereign in terms of masterful of your own choices and your own reality, and then blending it with the higher reality and with the framework of your society and how we live. And we're humans. We're in these bodies. We're having human experiences. So it's bringing our highest celestial embodiment into this human form. That's the whole idea behind this. And that's what this attunement and alignment with the galactic core. That's how I feel it, and that's how I see it in my inner vision. And we really need that unified perspective, because until we're unified in this polarity, we're always going to see extremes, you know, certain concepts. We're going to see things as concepts and ideas, but never as whole, holistic frameworks of the template of what really makes us who we are at the core level, right? So you can go into psychology, right? You can explore human psyche. You can explore in the dream world. You can go fully just into science, or only in spirituality, or only into the new age, whatever. But it's just branches of different approaches, and it's different perspectives. But once you are ready as a soul to embrace that unified perspective, that you're always moving with this, right? This pulse, this propulsion of all life and creation, you're a part of this. And it's all going to lead you in the right direction if only you drop these ego, you know, notions and these laws we're trying to create and tell what's right and how we should live. I don't think that anyone should tell anyone how they should live, but we do need proper guidelines and regulations as to how to live as a bigger whole, but not through rulership. And it's not about the either matriarchy or patriarchy. We've done that. You know, we had matriarchal ages way back, you know, even before Atlantis. And then we had patriarchal rulerships. And, you know, it's always been like this. It's never been like this, you know. Otherwise, we wouldn't have issues and challenges like this. And people who are coming here and trying to assist this planet because things have gone so much in the direction of disconnection from this earth. So because of this disconnection, and I've been reading about this in Legend of the Star Crash book from Dolores Cannon, and this entity who was saying, you know, back in our times, we were one with Earth Song. Everything was in harmony. There was always harmony, and all they talked about was harmony. And they didn't need to engage so much with each other through words. They simply felt each other. They understood each other on a much deeper level than we're now able to. They didn't have perhaps the tools and technology we do now, but they were more developed in the connection of that. So we went into this development and we consider ourselves so evolved, right? But are we really? Are we truly developed? Because if we can't even embrace our planet and the planetary energies, and we can't feel them, and we don't know what is proper for us, and how do we create on these higher levels, then we're not really an advanced society, are we? So I've recently read from somewhere, someone said a society, an advanced culture, does not try to destroy the planet that provides life for them, you know, that sustains their life forms. And it's like, of course, but we're doing that exactly. And we always go into one extreme, and with the popularity of movement into something, we say, oh, now it's about this, right? So now everything is about the divine feminine as a goddess, and now is this worship again. You know, it's like, I've shared this with you before. It's different timelines that we're now accessing, and it's memory, divine memory coming up, and these memory banks of our soul's journeys that were so vast. But we can't complete our cycle of unification of soul, and that's where your personal ascension comes in. And that's the time when you're going to need to drop those defenses, whether your society is there with you and supportive of that or not. That's what's going to show your maturity of soul, whether you're trying to do something because you know you're ready, or because you're hoping others are ready until you make that leap jump. That's not true ascension. It's not waiting for others to be as one with you, but it's being that pioneer. And that's why my channel is called Ascension Pioneer, because it starts somewhere, and it starts with you, my dears. So the thing is, please consider this as an advanced, unified approach when you talk about the divine feminine. And I only see it as the sacred primordial life force wisdom that's returning. That's why this connection now with the galactic center, and why I teach so much about this and talk about this, is because I have my own position of galactic core exactly in my chart. And I've mentioned to you this before many times. It's Neptune in 12th house of spirituality and all of this unification of all of our journeys. So Neptune is that planet of spiritual love and spiritual higher vision of unity, consciousness. So that's where I'm using this as this direct alignment to bring through these messages and the knowledge that I hold. And I felt myself when these connections with the galactic core started to begin. I felt the need to go in this direction of the Tantrika direction, into this direction of moving into the embodiment of this primordial life force and this balance, this unified self, the merging of our polarities, and so that we can create within triangulation, not the scattered energy that we're, like I said, we're just creating new laws and, you know, then we're recreating them, but we're basically scratching the surface still. We're not, you know, we're not going at it from the root, from that core. So that's really important, and that's what wanted to come through for this full moon in Libra, because it's about the proper partnership. And consider all the partnerships you're having. How are you really connected with the earth and the earth's pulse and the earth's magnetics, the earth's core mechanics, and her biology as well. Her, you know, just like you have a biology, earth has her own biology. And how attuned are you then also with the higher realms and the celestial spheres, so that you can unify this? And how attuned are you in your left and right brain hemispheres? And I've recently shared that I made an addendum, a bonus video to my Tantrika Life course, because first it was just the Life Force Mastery, and then I also added this Galactic Pulse of Life Mastery, an additional hour-long video to show you this and teach about how you can unify with this Galactic Pulse of Light Mastery. So it's kind of like in the body, and that which upgrades your consciousness from the higher levels, so that you can become like the spinning vortex that the great galactic center is. And I always tell you, sorry, I'm moving a lot because these stones here are, like, if you can see, quite big, you know, and sitting on them is not very pleasant. So I'm moving like this, right? I'm like a balance, sitting in each position for a while. So yeah, this is such a capacity of vastness and downloads of information and everything, but the human mind, when it's so scattered, when it's not attuned to this unity, will distort that, and we will continue to distort that and get only bits and pieces of this fragmented information, never fully knowing what to do with it, because you can get all the blessings of the divine, you can get all the knowledge, but your brain is still wired in this linear fashion, and you're not going to interpret it the right way. So that's why I added this addendum to the Tantrika Life Force course, in order to establish also this upgrade of consciousness, so you'll be able to receive and of course then unpack that, so you're going to be able to process and integrate from this higher wisdom of this primordial life force that comes from below and above, and it's unifying you from, you know, from all angles of life. Because that's when we will intuitively know from within what's right. And the reason why we need to implement all these laws is because we're not attuned to this pulse of life and this divine love, and people don't know what's the right thing because they're not attuned to that, to this higher force. And when you are attuned to it, you can only create with beauty and love and magnificence, and your partnerships become divine, not just codependent, but they really literally transform into this alchemical marriage, a sacred partnership and unionship of the ocean of love, right? Yeah, so that's my vision, that was my message. There's a lot of misinterpretations, mistranslations of that, what truly is the divine feminine, and I always see it as the body, right? It's the souls that are ready to come into physical form through real translation in our physical vessels. And I talk about this as in physical ascension, not just mental ascension, but physical ascension, when you can transmit and transmute basically the cellular structure of your whole body. You go to the atomic particles and even the subatomic particles, you know, whatever you want. It's just a natural automatic process once you attune to it. And I always see that this purity, when we have it, when we hold it, we can achieve greater crystallization in this matter, become more crystalline. That's what makes us be more crystalline. As well as, I always see the Spirit shows me that those who are doing this work, they're going to get more responsibility. Not in a bad way, in a good way, because when you will have this attainment in your own embodiment, you're going to get more, to share more, to help others more with that, to share this knowledge, to spread the awareness. And that astrologer that I was watching this video from, she was saying, we do these messages and we share not because we get money from it, but because we're so passionate, and until enough people shares these messages of truth. Not just, you know, a fragment, a little partial truth, because sometimes people are so so infatuated with the initial ideas of something that that's all they receive, and they're still like this, right, oriented only in one direction. You have to become more open and susceptible to all, to the nature of reality, to present itself to you as it is, not just in a little fragment of certain perception, because it's not yet whole. And today, when I was meditating and doing my tantric practice, I actually received this understanding that the new energy, right, that's now coming, and I've shared this with you. There's a recent Ascension blog about this new energy wave and how it's affecting us. It's really intense. So there's many symptoms that are resulting from that as well. But I was shown that the energy comes, but it needs to still know how it goes, right? How it will spread itself. Everything always needs guidance and directive. That's why in the bigger picture of wholeness, every being, every conscious and self-aware being, not illusory being that says, oh, I'm here and here and there, the being that really knows their task and its divine variation of creation, which means their own best specialization as a soul, as a sovereign. So these beings, they always go with the energy. They know how to direct it, and there's directives that help the energy to move in a proper way so that it goes towards the highest potential. And today I was shown that this is what I do. And Spirit says you help to disperse this energy, you help to orient it in a way. It's just kind of like being, you know, the one who pushes the energy in the right direction. It's kind of, you help to move it in the right direction. So I was shown this, but I was also shared that you need a tremendous amount of purity, not just as a soul, but in your human vessel as well, specifically because this higher things are bigger responsibilities that are held on bigger levels of being. And when we cultivate them here as humans, they need to be tended to properly. You can't distort them with these filters that you might still be having. So these sacred tasks and responsibilities are only given to the souls who can handle them. And we do that with the great level of love and devotion and commitment, not expecting anything from it for it, because it's not what it's about. It's about being one with Earth, what she needs. It's being the assistance to Gaia and what she needs, and the humanity that's moving now with this ascension. And the rest of those who are still just mind-bogglingly confused, we can just be the pillar of this conscious light without judging them. Just continue to spread these messages of truth when you hold it. Sometimes you think you got it all figured out, and perhaps not. So continue to work on this soul refinement so that you will become this conscious conduit and this balanced individual of an integrated polarity, because that will make you as the biggest gift to this planet. And just by being here, you will have a tremendous power, which is not a power to rule, but the power to co-create in unionship. So the true rulers, right, they don't rule. In truth, the divine masculine and feminine and these unions that are now happening on the planet with proper partnerships that are enlightened partnerships, they're actually here not to rule, but to help provide these guidelines and to help support in unity, in companionship, in mutual energy exchange. That's the whole idea and vision of love that's unified. So if this helps you in any way, this was my main message for today. I hope it was received as it was meant to. Where's my number one now? I want to show it once more. Okay, so if you want to learn more about this, there's this, as I've shared, 6.5 hour long course called the Tantrika. It's 2 videos. One is a bonus one that came additionally. So it's Life Force Mastery and Galactic Pulse of Light Mastery, and it's tremendous work behind it. And yeah, so if you want anything else, let me know. All the information about what I do, what I provide, is always shared down below. There's times when I'm more like withdrawn, just receiving. So at these times, I am how I am. I'm just guided this way. Sometimes I'm just with the energy, and I help to do these things. Like I said, my embodiment can sometimes be so intense that when these new waves come, it's like I don't sometimes sleep well. I just have these leg cramps all night. It's like I have this restless leg syndrome, and I feel, oh, so much is coming through my body. It's like I literally feel how the energy tries to move through in a proper way, and I just have to be with energy at that time. So there's times when I'm more public, when I share more. There's times when I'm just more with the energy and what I'm needing and the sacred calling to do to assist the planet. And there's times when I'm here also for you personally and for your requests. So a little proper balance for all of us. Again, number 1, 11, make it 11, make it 11, 11 perhaps. I love you all so very much. And the reason why I do these videos, again, it's from pure love and devotion to the truth. Not partial, fragmented, you know, these limited, linear, but to help you open up to this perspective of how vast creation is and how beautiful it is once you unify with divine love, and you know you're always guided the right way because you are one with this sacred propulsion of all life, with this core of all that is of source. So thank you so much for watching, and for supporting my channel or my page. You can visit my donation pages. I love you so much again from the sacred mountain space, and I'll talk to you soon with always so much love, wisdom, and power. So take care. One way.